What is money laundering in simple terms? Today we are going to talk about money laundering, and perhaps the best example in history is Al Capone and his laundromat scheme, which became one of the most legendary in history. Al Capone is a legendary gangster of 1,920 years, is famous not only for his criminal activity, but also for the way he tried to hide and legalize his income from illegal business. First of all, let's understand what money laundering is. You didn't think you had to wash your money in a washing machine to do it, did you? Money laundering is the process of legalizing illegally obtained income through complex financial transactions that makes their origin almost invisible to financial authorities and law enforcement agencies. Illegal sources of income. Al Capone received millions of dollars from illegal operations such as illegal alcohol sales, gambling, and bank robberies, and other illegal operations. This was during Prohibition in the U.S. when the sale and distribution of alcohol was prohibited. These operations brought in huge sums of money, but the profits were obtained illegally, which made it difficult to exploit. How the laundromat scheme worked. Buying the laundromats. Al Capone invested in the purchase of a chain of laundries in Chicago. This business seemed at first glance quite ordinary and legal, which did not arouse suspicion of the police and tax authorities. Laundries always dealt with cash that allowed to easily add the income from illegal operations. Increasing revenue streams. Owning laundries, Al Capone could artificially inflate their income by adding money from his illegal operations, such as the underground sale of intoxicating drinks and gambling. If a laundromat served 50 customers a day, reports could show 200. This gave him the opportunity to legalize the income by making it appear to the tax authorities as legitimate money from a successful business. Distribution of the money. The money from the laundries was used to pay for expenses, salaries, and new investments. It could be used for further investments, real estate purchases, and other legitimate transactions. Thus, the laundries became a kind of filter through which the proceeds of criminal activity passed. This laundromat scheme became so famous that later the very concept of money laundering became known as money laundering. Although the term has only been in common use since the 1970s, the methods used by Al Capone laid the foundation for many future money laundering schemes. Bottom line, Al Capone was successful in using laundromats to disguise his income, but eventually he fell into the crosshairs of the tax authorities. Prosecutors were able to prove that his official income could not cover his expenses, which led to a charge of tax evasion rather than his other criminal activities. Why Al Capone failed to hide his income? Although the money laundering scheme looked pretty solid for its time, Al Capone was eventually arrested and convicted, but not for his crimes in the world of intoxicating beverages and gambling, but for failing to pay taxes. The Internal Revenue Service, IRS, was able to prove that his expenses far exceeded his official income, and this was the reason for his arrest. Using accountants and specialists, the IRS uncovered the income schemes that Al Capone tried to hide and brought tax charges against him. This case became a famous example of how authorities can uncover illegal income, even if the main activity is hidden, and also emphasizes the importance of tax control in the fight against money laundering. So any criminal activity will be punished sooner or later. If you want to live a free life and increase your capital legally, be sure to watch the video on my channel about how the stock market and stocks work. I left a link to the video in the comments.